Klean Radio starts now.
Welcome, Klean listeners. This is Judah. My partner Andrew's taking a little R&R tonight. So welcome all our new listeners. Welcome all our loyal listeners. You might be listening to us on News Talk 790 KFWB or 760 News Talk San Diego or on cleanradio.com. We also stream live. I'd like to welcome everybody. We're a show about addiction and recovery. We like to focus on the good things after people get sober. And in the studio, but I'm going to get to him in a minute, is Klean's own Dr. Jason Coe, who was actually on this week. He was on one of the morning talk shows, Good Day LA. And one of the things they were talking about was Whitney Houston. And it's such a hot topic. But one of the things I want to talk about is at Klean, we do something really interesting. On weekends, we do this thing called Sober Fun Day. And every Saturday, we go on Sober Fun. And this week, we happen to go to the Museum of Natural History. Before I'm about to leave, before I go down to the center, I turn on the TV and I look at almost every channel. I wanted to get the news, but I couldn't get the news. All I could get was Whitney Houston's funeral. And some people might not like what I'm about to say. I'm 35 years old. I grew up listening to Whitney Houston. I wanted to dance with somebody. I believed the children were the future. I loved The Bodyguard. But I also realized that she was a drug addict. She's the one that said crack is whack. And I'm about celebrating the living, and it's sad, it's horrible what happened to her, but a funeral for 2 hours. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this show was to show people out there. It's a Sunday night. A lot of people are having a rough time. The economy's bad. People are struggling with all forms of addiction, and there is hope. And one of the things we wanted to show about this, what we wanted to do with this show, is we wanted to bring in people that are sober, that are having an amazing life. And like I said, I loved Whitney Houston. It's really sad, but we celebrate the living. And I think it's really important. Her story, that script has already been written. It's already been written for sadly, a lot of amazing, talented rock stars who have died in bathrooms all over. But I'm about, talking about the celebrities or regular people out there that have, decided to make amazing lives for themselves after they've gotten sober. And there is hope, because I think sometimes if you turn on the TV, you can become hopeless and you don't see that there's a cure, that there is hope to getting sober. And with that, let's welcome in Dr. Jason Coe. I hope that made a little sense, Doc.
Oh, it did. Yeah, absolutely.
We having a problem with Dr. Coe's mic tonight? Sorry, Doc.
Okay.
We're going to do take 2, and we're going to go, Dr. Coe, welcome to Klean Radio.
Okay.
You're a star this week. Yeah, you were on Good Day LA.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
My first appearance.
And it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You were great. And it's a pretty rowdy group you were on with.
True.
Yeah. And you did great. So what were you about to say about Whitney Houston?
No.
With hope and...
Well, I agree. Let's focus on what we can do and how we can help people, and that there is hope, and that there are a lot of people who get better. Is this working?
Yes, you're working loud and clear, Doc.
All right. So,
yeah.
I mean, addiction is horrible, but people get better all the time, and that's what we like to do.
And a little bit about yourself. You're a licensed psychiatrist, therapist. You've been in the business for how many years?
Board certified psychiatrist. Right. Been doing this over 30 years. Also psychotherapist, and have seen a lot of patients in my lifetime, and I know that people can get better. One of the things I like to say is it's a decision. Some people may not want to hear that and feel like you have to turn over to the higher power. I believe in that too. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to make a decision to get better. And once you do, there is hope.
I want to tell you something it's funny you say that. I'm sober a little over 13 years for people that are listening out there. I'm blessed. I've been a sober member of the 12 Steps for a long time, but I'm newly sober. And my father, wants to bring me to the rabbi of the temple to get a prayer or something. And I go to him, I go, Rabbi, I go, listen, and I'm giving him all this stuff. And he goes, and I said, with the grace of God, I'm going to stay sober. And he says, he's got like a very raspy voice. And he goes, with the grace of you, you're going to get sober. Right. He goes, you're the one that's got to go to meetings every day. You're the one that's got to take it. He goes, and then God could help. Then your higher power could help.
That's right. It's, as a doctor, I can't decide for that person what they want to do with their life. That's my point. Everyone has their autonomy. And yes, once they make that decision, turn it over however they want to make that decision, then there's hope.
But a lot of people constantly, and we were talking before the show I was talking to Patrick, our video guy, and a lot of people right now, the new drug everybody's getting angry at is prescription drugs, right? 10 years ago it was something else. 10 years ago it was something else.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, it's people. People are choosing to do this. Yes, it's accessible a little more.
Yeah.
But it's like sort of what you're saying. It's people's decisions are to be using drugs.
Right.
And you want. What I'm saying is, it's easier to blame the doctors. It's easier to blame the liquor stores. It's always easy to blame the other people instead of blaming the people that are not blaming, but holding them accountable.
That's true. There is a lot of access to prescription drugs, to alcohol, especially alcohol. Yet, people can decide to use or not to use.
Right.
And when I say that, then let's balance that out with some of the realities. And that is, once people are addicted, the very essence of the illness is they can't say no.
Right.
They can't stop it.
Once you're on it, you have no choice.
Yeah. Then that's when you need help.
Right.
Yeah. And every kind of help you can get.
I couldn't agree with you more.
All the help you can get.
Right. And and the reason you're saying that is Dr. Ko was on a few weeks ago, and we had a caller call him up, and because you're reiterating right now, you're a big fan of the 12 steps, you're a big fan of psychiatry, therapy, rehab, all the help out there. Just use all the ammo you could possibly have.
That's right. They say it's dual diagnosis, but I really think it's multimodal therapy. We want every kind of help we can get for that patient.
Exactly. And you're listening to Klean Radio Live. The number here is 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. You might be listening to us on News Talk KFWB or 760 KFMB San Diego, or you might be listening to us online at kleanradio.com. You could stream us. Find us on Facebook, Klean Radio. That's Klean with a K. We're talking a lot about hope tonight, and not the depressing stuff out there. And oddly enough, we have the amazingly lovely and talented Hope Horner, the owner, CEO of A Better You. Welcome to Klean Radio, Hope.
Thank you, Jude. I'm so happy to be here.
You got to speak up. Yes. Welcome to the Klean Studios. You sound great. You look great.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
And what is A Better You?
So betteryou.com is a website where people can go and find the people that make them look or feel better. So personal trainers, massage therapists, hairstylists, acupuncturists, anything that's going to make you look or feel better, you can find them directly outside of the gym or spa online.
And how did you get into that?
So I worked in the fitness field for years and years as a sales manager. And what I saw happen were the personal trainers and massage therapists coming in, getting certified, and always trying to take their clients outside. But once they were outside, they had a hard time managing and marketing their business. So I wanted to create a platform actually to support them and give them the flexibility and the autonomy that they were craving to run their business outside on their own.
Right on. So that's actually really cool. So you actually give grades to the trainer. Like, do you, if somebody wants to sign up with you, is that like their...
Yeah. So what we do, for example, for the personal trainer or for the, esthetician, we give them a management software program. So it's scheduling, automated appointment reminders, payment processing, branding, business forecasting, anything that's going to help them streamline their business. And then we give them a platform to reach new customers.
And you are sober.
I am.
And I know you've built this business in sobriety.
I have.
Can you trace building that business to the fact that you are sober?
Definitely. I actually had this idea before I got sober. So I spent about a year kind of just spinning my wheels and hungover and not doing a lot with it. And then it was when I actually got sober that it got that it got its legs. And I was able to find a partner and to build a team and to actually build a solid product. And if I hadn't been sober, I would have never been able to do it for sure.
Okay. By the way, if you're out there, you're listening to kleanradio.com. The number here is 888-539-2980, 888-539-2980. Give us a call. Talk about anything. You can call up, ask the doc about any questions you might have about getting sober. You could call in and talk to Hope Horner, the owner and proprietor of betteryou.com. What most of your clients coming in, do you see like I mean, obviously it's a lot similar, you know, somebody getting sober. You probably get a lot of people that are at the bottom.
Definitely. You know, you get the people who are, you know, tired and burnt out of going from, you know, in the gym or in the spa to outside on their own and then back. And so it's really giving them that hope that they're looking for, that they can, in fact, run their own business outside and, you know, kind of start a life the way that they really wanted to. So there's definitely a lot of parallels there.
Doc, how important is it for people trying to get sober to work out?
I think it's really helpful. I really do. I think particularly in the early phases when they're detoxing and they're feeling physically bad, you know, you have to start moving, and I think it's very helpful when you're continuing to move through the treatment phase that you stay active and become physically strong. One of the things I like to say is you can't have a good body without a good mind, and you can't have a good mind without a good body.
And that sums me up.
Yeah.
And and it also helped with the looks. Do you offer running buddies? And, you know, do you know what I mean? Like,
You know, we don't exactly, but we have a lot of resources out there that do reference other websites that you can find running buddies or workout buddies and things like that. We really focus on the service. But, you know, we have a lot of friends in similar, you know, verticals and things like that.
because I want a running buddy.
I'll be your running buddy, Judah.
You're too kind. I need a gay running buddy. And I need somebody that, you know, there's, you know, yes. And I need somebody I'm not going to ever feel bad about with. I need, you know, I need a running buddy. And I think it's important. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, you know, with sobriety, you know, I know you're involved in the 12 steps, and a few weeks ago, I was talking to a guy that needed help, and he was talking about this program, and I really don't know much about this program called Rational Recovery, right? But I know somebody in it. So I called up the guy and I said, "Can you help my friend out?" And he goes, "No, he's got to do it himself." And I said to him, "What do you mean he's got to do it himself? How does he find the?" So he gives me the website. And no offense, but one of the great things I think about the 12 steps or going to the gym or any of these things, it's a great support system that you need when you get sober.
It definitely is. And that's the great thing, you know, about a personal trainer, the group fitness. We definitely encourage that, you know, group learning and group support system.
Doc?
You can't have too much support.
Yeah, like you said.
And that's the great thing about AA and 12-step is the meetings, the sponsor, the community. The opportunity to give back, I think, is really important. Helping others is very healing. I think that's underestimated, or maybe it isn't.
Right. Well, no, I think there's a problem that people, and we constantly go through this, right? And you know, it's like, I'm sure you could relate to this. Is you offer a service that's out there to help people. It probably could be a little pricey at some points for some people, but it's so funny that people are so willing. They have no problem spending $150 a month on Time Warner Cable or any of their cable services, on computers, on everything. But all of a sudden, it costs $50 to work out. That's a little too pricey for me. And it's so funny that as a society, it's like where we can't separate. And we look at that in the mental health profession too. Oh my God, it costs $150 to go to a therapist a week or whatever it is. Probably a little more for some. But it's like we're so willing to spend money on things that aren't, you know, that are getting us out of shape, out of mind, but we're not willing to do that for health.
Yeah, I definitely see it every day, you know, and I think that, you know, health and fitness is definitely becoming, you know, there's an awareness definitely growing amongst our society as more people are obese and overweight. But, you know, it's a big animal that we're trying to figure out, I think, you know, as a company, as a country, you know, everywhere.
These lifestyle factors, very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I you know, it's like, I'm not a vegetarian. I love, you know, and I really never knew this. As a kid growing up, I grew up, you know, I was raised in a kosher environment, and once a week maybe we'd go to this store to get burgers on a Sunday night, and it was a treat. And I never realized that people literally go to McDonald's every day. I never realized that this is what people have as 3 square meals a day. And this isn't a show about, you know, I mean, you know, there are a lot of food addicts out there. We live in a nation of, I mean, there's absolute obesity out there. And So do you recommend do you ever get calls from people that are obese, and do you ever recommend to them, hey, working out is great, but, working on the mind is great too?
Absolutely. It's such a critical factor, and you see it becoming more and more predominant, I think, amongst the providers, making sure that they are mentally as healthy and as motivated as they are physically. Because if you're not, it's about coming to the workout or coming to whatever it is that you're going to with love and not fear, and that's really what's going to make all the difference. And I see it more and more predominant within the providers that we work with, and I think that's the big trend where everything is going.
So insurance covers you?
No.
See, that's another problem, Doc, right? Wouldn't you say, why isn't insurance covering the gym?
I agree. Some plans do. They've recognized that. Big companies have in-house gyms. They're also focusing on smoking.
We don't talk about smoking here, Doc, because the Judah still smokes.
You're not ready to talk about that.
I'm not ready yet.
You're working on it.
I am working on it,
Okay.
thanks to Dr. Ko's help. But isn't that Hope? Is there anything, something like that you could do? Because I think you have an amazing company trying to help people out there. What's the next step? How do we get insurance for people to work out? Okay,
that's a great question. I would love to find out the answers.
Right.
And like Dr. Ko was saying, there are some insurance companies that are covering it, but it's just, it's not the norm right now.
Right.
And hopefully it will be. I don't know how bad it has to get before that happens, but I think eventually it will reach that point.
Okay, by the way, you're listening to Klean Radio Live. The number here is 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. We're in the studio tonight with Dr. Jason Ko and the amazing Hope Horner. One of the things I started the show with was I was talking with Whitney about Whitney Houston. And one of the reasons I love to have people in here that are sober, that are building better, that are building amazingly better lives, is because they show that there's hope. And if you would turn on the TV some weekends or almost every day and you'd see certain things, whether it's reality shows or the news, you see no hope. I'm sorry that your name is Hope, but I'm sure you get this quite often. I know somebody named Buddy, and he constantly goes through this. But, it's a great name.
Thank you.
And I've seen you grow. And how do you, you get a lot of calls. How many people that actually call you up to work out? And I would love to see this because I'm sure it's the same. Because you're in the healthcare industry, Dr. Ko, you're in the healthcare industry. I'm sure so many people call you. Your busiest day is probably January 2nd. And, but how many of those people actually become clients? How many of those people actually...
to put a number on it is hard.
No, ballpark.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot of calls and a lot of people who are really... motivated in the moment, and then they kind of lose their motivation or lose their inspiration, and you never see them again. Yeah. I worked in gyms for years too, and I saw the same thing every single day.
Yeah, what happens to them? Why do they do that? Do you know?
Excuses,
Uh-huh.
putting things in front of their health a lot of times because sometimes it's easier.
But I think that I find that you encounter that all the time with the 12 steps. When you have a fire, it's to keep the fire burning. You got to kind of. I hate using cliches, but I don't hate it.
How do you motivate people?
Yeah, but you constantly have to put people. The only time you have to be motivated as a person. That's what I believe. It's like as great as a running buddy is, you have to be willing to answer the phone when that running buddy calls you up and says, "Hey, let's go to the gym today." And Hope actually wanted to take this call. He's one of our biggest fans. And we have Sonny on the line from Rancho Cucamonga. What's cooking, Sonny? You still owe me a jersey.
Judah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking my call. Hello, Dr. Jason Ko. How are you doing?
Hi, Sonny.
Hi. And, of course, Ms. Horner, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you, Sonny?
I'm doing very good. And as if you may have heard me before, I'm actually a famous kid. I live in Rancho Cucamonga. I'm 15, and I've never done drugs or drinking alcohol before, actually.
And we're very proud of you for that, Sonny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judah.
Let's keep it that way.
What was that?
Let's keep it that way.
We are going to keep it that way, believe me. I want to make a quick example, actually, because I read an article in the newspaper, and I'm actually also doing an essay, a 1,200-word essay since I'm in high school, in regards of addictions with people. What I've learned, for the last year or so, people can get addictions, really quick. All it takes is just one little pressure from your friend, or your girlfriend, and right away you're hooked. So, I think, you have to have a parent, by you. And even though, when they tell you not to go near these friends of yours because they are a bad influence, and that's part of the big problem right there.
I think that's actually a really great point Sonny brings up, because he's 15, so he's talking about a parent, being by you, being by there to support you. When you get older, you have to have, like we were talking about, a support group to, sort of hold you when you're falling. Anybody?
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say, Sonny?
Yeah, and what I'm also, including too is that there's big, gigantic steps out there for people that have addictions. You go to a rehab, but sometimes, in the future, you can always slip. I haven't had this in a long time since I went to rehab. So let me just have a drink of, say, tequila or something, and right away you're back on that road, or right away you're hooked to something. And like you said, Dr. Jason Cohen, the last time you were on, it's easy right there. I mean, it's that easy to get hooked on. So when you think about it in your mind, you have to try to find steps for yourself. I mean, your family's right there to help you. What more do you want? What more do you want?
Doc, do you have an answer for Sonny?
Well, I think a lot of people that I see who become addicted somehow did not have parents who were there for them, and they may not have been there for them physically or emotionally, is what I'm describing. And these are the people who are vulnerable, who somehow don't feel connected to their parents or to some healthy support system. And those are the ones that are vulnerable to addiction. Those are the people I worry about.
Sonny, is that what you got? Does that solve your problem?
Well, really, I just don't know any other answer than that. So big applause right there for you. I mean, of course, you've worked with thousands and thousands of people, and me being friends with you on Facebook, learning more about you is...
you got a new friend, Doc, and his name is Sonny.
And
how about
that? I think more about you every day. I mean, we all learn something every day. I mean, if people can give permission about themselves and make movies, and tell them, this is what happened in my life, and even though I'm a celebrity, they can do something about it, and they have done something about it. It's called celebrity rehab. And, Judah, you've heard about this before 1,000 times, right, by callers, and even sometimes the company you work on had, as well as Andrew, another host of Klean Radio. You have sometimes of all permissions to do things. So I just don't know any other way to put it.
Sonny, thanks a lot for the call. We got to run.
Thank you.
Sonny actually raises a great point. And one of the points Sonny's raising is that I think as a culture so far that we're so new with drug addiction and alcoholism. I mean, it's so scary that, we were talking a few weeks ago, we have this baseball player out there named Josh Hamilton. He's could be one of the greatest, but he's got a meth problem, and he's an alcoholic. And it's like people don't get it. It's one of those things that unless they just don't get it, that he's got to constantly work on his life. And he said it, but they don't get it. They think, oh my God, you're making $180 million. Just don't do it for 8 years, I guess. And it's very scary that we're so new still in this field of addiction. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. Mental health, which addictions is, part of that, is really the last frontier. There's so much more to know about, why is it that people can't say no and how we can help them.
That's why I'm also fascinated with what Hope does, because I really do think it's like you constantly hear this thing of how do you keep the fire burning? And I think that, I don't think there's an answer for that. How do you, on January 2nd say I'm going to start working out today? There really is. It's the same. It almost seems to be the same mindset. It's like you had a problem with alcohol, drugs one night, and the next morning you wake up a wreck. You ate a pizza one night, you wake up a wreck, you call Hope, you call Dr. Co, and then you don't call back.
It's one day at a time.
Right.
For both.
Right.
It's making that decision every day to get up and to commit to making your life better because you deserve it and because you want to be better.
And we have another caller, by the way. We have Mike from Fullerton. He's having he had trouble with wife, and she's hassling him for a couple. Mike, you're drinking a couple beers a night. Mike,
Yeah, I don't understand why it's a big deal because I'm just trying to make things work out. It's a tough economy.
and so how does that have to do with your drinking a night?
I don't know.
How much are you actually drinking a night? That's the question.
Just, you get home, you work hard, and you have a couple of beers, and your wife says, just see, she's yelling at me right now.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Mike. We actually have to run to a break. Stay on the line. We're going to come back to you, and we'll be able to better answer your question. That's great. We actually heard his wife hassling him in the background about drinking a couple beers. We're in the studio tonight with Hope Horner and Dr. Jason Coe. You're listening to Clean Radio Live. You can call us here at 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. You can find us, you can watch us right now live at cleanradio.com. Just press the live stream. And also, you can find us on Facebook. I probably just said that. The discussion continues on cleanradio.com.
Do you suspect a loved one is abusing drugs? Call Clean Treatment Center at 888-601-6040 for a free drug test and consultation. A treatment advisor is available to help you administer the test and answer any questions you may have regarding treatment and more. We are here to help. Call us today at 888-601-6040 or find us online at cleantreatmentcenter.com for your free drug test and the start of a promising future.
La la, I love that song. It's Afro Man, 'Cause I Got High. And you're listening to cleanradio.com. We're in the studio tonight with Dr. Jason Coe and Hope Horner, owner and proprietor of A Better You, abetteryou.com. Let's get back to our caller quickly. Mike from Fullerton. Mike, welcome back.
Thanks.
Hi, Mike.
So what's going on, Mike? Let's start from the scratch.
It's a tough economy, and you got to work longer hours, and so you hang out, maybe have a couple of beers after work, and then you get home, and your wife's yelling at me now.
Mike, why don't you go to a different room? That might help a little bit.
I go to a different room. Why doesn't she go to a different room?
Well, that's a.
So how many beers? What's a couple?
A couple. Everybody says a couple. Whatever. I don't know. 2, 3. I don't know.
And this is every night, obviously.
Well, not every night, but you work 3 or 4 nights. I don't know.
2 or 3 total, or 2 or 3?
She's still. Can you stop? I'm trying to talk on the phone.
On the radio, actually, also. And this does make
some. Talk to you now.
Yes. So, Mike, so basically, you're working every day, and you and your wife are going through issues.
Right. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to work harder because the economy sucks. And when I get home, and just because I want to relax a little bit after work, when I get home, she's like screaming at me, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
What else is she upset about?
Well, that's pretty much it. I'm not making any money. I'm trying to do my best, but.
And you could buy beer. I do, and that's basically the argument. Is she's basically saying you're wasting all the money you're making on beer.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Dr. Coe, you are also, you deal with relationships. You want to take this one?
Well, I don't know if I know enough to say anything intelligent.
Is there any drugs going on, or is there just a couple beers a night, Mike?
I mean, I don't really care about that.
And so if you stop drinking, you think that would solve the problem?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
It's like more than that.
Yeah.
I think
it's more than that.
You don't make as much money as you're supposed to, and you drink it all up, and forget about the drugs or anything else. It's just, I guess you're just not. What? She's still yelling at me.
No, we could hear. Mike, do you have any health insurance?
Now my neighbor's yelling at me.
Okay, Mike, this is my best suggestion for you. Go to therapy. You and your wife, or I feel like that movie Meet the Parents, when that scene when he's like, doc.
Right. Yeah. Get some professional help.
Yeah, get some professional help, Mike.
Let's sort this out somehow.
Let's, you could give Dr. Coe a call. You could call our 800 number. Dr. Coe is an amazing specialist when it comes to this stuff. And Obviously, if your wife's screaming at you, she means she loves you, right? You don't scream at well, you might
That's
scream
true.
at some.
I can see what you're saying. Yeah, if she didn't care, she wouldn't yell at me. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's right.
I actually give pretty good advice, Mike. I actually gave great advice this week to Patrick, our video guy, and now he's got a third date. And so, Mike, get some help for yourself. Instead of buying a couple beers tomorrow night, go to
I
Jack
need
in the
some
Box.
money. I need, a job, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mike, I know it's tough right now, but your wife has a little bit of a valid point. Money's
But you're
tougher.
telling me she cares about me.
She
That's
does,
cool.
of course she cares about you, Mike. I care about you. Now, Mike.
And what's more important, the beer or the relationship?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Go to Jack in the Box. Get a couple dollar meals.
Do they have beer there?
They don't. But
Get
they
her some
have,
flowers.
Yeah, get her flowers. But flowers are a little pricey. And
Flowers die.
yeah, it's very uplifting. Mike, God bless you. I'll pray for you that you get a job. Have a great night. Thanks for calling Klean Radio. Listen to us. Call us again. And we actually, there's something I thought about this week, and Doc and Hope, I'm sure you can relate to this, is dating. And there's a lot of things where, Hope and I are both sober. Dr. Coe, you've worked with a lot of addicts. Constantly, there's a lot of questions people do ask addicts and alcoholics that we don't always know how to answer. And by the way, if you just tuned in, you're listening to Klean Radio Live. The number here is 888-539-2980, 888-539-2980. So we brought in our web guy this week. His name is Brian Cambro, the Big C. And to ask a few of those questions, I didn't prep you on any of this stuff, so I don't know what you're going to ask.
And isn't the Big C cancer?
Yes, it might be.
Thanks.
You're the okay. So Brian, the small C Cambra.
Wow.
Thanks.
What do you got for me, Brian?
Well, okay, so now that I'm,
You got to speak closer to the mic.
I'm working with Klean, and I'm around a lot more sober people than I've ever been around before.
Mm-hmm.
I got questions, and Hope you can probably chime in on this a little bit, being sober.
Yes.
And sometimes it's uncomfortable to ask those questions because you don't know.
You don't want to offend.
I don't want to
Right.
offend you. You're a good
Right.
guy. I don't want you
Right.
going home.
I
like,
get that with
Brian.
the Jewish thing all the time. People always are a little scared to ask me questions, and they because they don't want. Yes.
I don't want to piss you off.
Yes. So
You
go.
could be a
You
dangerous
can
man.
never piss me off. So what do you got for us,
So,
Brian?
Well, is it okay to talk about addiction? Generally, are people open about talking about their addiction or their addiction issues or the treatment that they've been through? Or do people kind of want to keep that to themselves? Is that like a private thing that you want to deal with?
It's a great
Or-
question, Brian Cambra. And Hope.
I think yes. I think people that are going through recovery are usually open to talking about it because, we're encouraged to be of service and to share our experience and what we've gone through, maybe to help someone else. So personally, I'm always open to talking about it.
Even if even if the other person's not in sobriety.
Absolutely, you never know who they know.
And that's a great question. That's a great answer. And I think we live in L.A. and there are a lot of people, or Hollywood, or we live in this bubble where a lot of us, they're happy. I can't walk down Santa Monica Boulevard without seeing 10 people I know from a 12-step meeting. And, it's like literally every time I hear somebody just scream, I think they're saying Judah. And that's also because I'm a narcissist with an ego. But, Brian, yeah, I think some people hold it. I think if you're a doctor or you have a certain type of profession where it's sort of, if you're an airline pilot, you don't want everybody knowing you're sober.
Right.
You might not. Well, these days you might want.
I suppose if you had to go there for work told you to be there, then you probably know.
Doc?
But I would say I would wait for them to bring it up and feel out if they're open to talking about it. If they're at that point, yeah. But
That makes sense. Well, luckily Judah and I are close enough
Yes.
now that I can say whatever I want to Judah.
And if
he
it
doesn't
comes
get
from a
upset.
loving place, most people won't get upset.
Right.
I think that's the biggest. That's also, it's like if you're not coming up here, if you're not coming, it's like when you go to a bar and you're sober. If you're a couple, and you're, it's okay. You don't have to, walk around us on eggshells. People don't want that.
Well, and specifically related to dating.
Yes.
What are the rules? Are we allowed to go to bars?
That's
That's a great place to just go and hang out. I mean, you don't have to drink, but is that even okay to do?
That's another great question, Brian Small C. Canberra. Yes, Dr. Coe.
That's again an individual thing. I would think. Some people who are sober, I think you have to respect that they may not want to be around alcohol. They may not want to see you drink. So you have to ask and be considerate,
Right.
tactful.
Hope?
Yeah, I think just asking is always the best policy. And I think it's going to vary with each individual. But as long as you're kind when you ask and honest and, open to other suggestions, I think that you'll get a good response.
I actually think that's a great question and great answers all around. And my thing on that is, you're right, Hope. It's, it's like, just, be easy with people, be loving. And if something makes somebody feel uncomfortable, don't do it. And that goes both ways. It's like you're sober, the other person's not sober. I'm sure they're going to, there's always a designated driver. How great is that? That's what recovering people offer. Brian, the Small C Canberra, thank you so much for this segment with Brian, the Small C Canberra.
No problem, Judah. Thanks.
Next week, Brian.
Awesome.
And we actually have a great call. We have a call from Christine in Escondido. Has her own theory for getting clean. Christine, welcome to Clean Radio.
Hey guys, I just got off work and I heard your show. I'd never heard you guys before, but it's a topic that I'm kind of passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in recovery, my own style of recovery, for almost 3 years from alcoholism.
Right on.
And I started off by just going to my healthcare provider, and they had an addiction medicine department. They gave me an evaluation. I saw a doctor, and I did a couple therapy sessions, some group therapy sessions. I used the drug Antabuse. You're probably familiar with that.
Yes, we are. And to people that aren't, it's basically you take a pill that if you drink, right, Doc?
Yeah.
It has what happens?
You get sick.
You get.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Dr. Co. For everybody listening out there, Dr. Co keeps it simple.
It's a behavioral intervention. It's an old medicine, and I think it's a great one.
Yeah, what it did for me was it removed the decision-making process.
Exactly.
My natural behavior was after work to go and have a drink, but this removed that decision-making from me. I knew that I didn't have drinking as an option, and I had to reestablish a new routine and a new behavior. And I think without the drug, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Right, but again, Christine, you were ready. Is what it sounds like, is you were willing to do whatever it took to stop.
That's true.
So many people who are given Antabuse, it doesn't work. As great of it is, and it is an amazing thing, because they might find a loophole, which is drugs.
That's true, and you have to take the medicine. That's the thing. If you just don't take it, obviously it's not going to work for you.
Right, it's like a lap band, right? It's like 1-800-GET-THIN. I don't mean to give them another advertisement, but Lord knows they're all over the highway. I sing that song half the night. And but if you just get a lap band and if you don't go to places like A Better You, which is Hope's company, and other companies out there, and work, or go to Dr. Co and work on yourself mentally, it's just going to be a lap band where you extend and break the band, because
you can defeat a lap band.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting operation, because it's another behavioral treatment.
Right.
For overeating. And
luckily, I was able to reestablish my habits and develop a new routine. But I never did the AA meetings or the 12 steps. I don't find them to be helpful in any way. And in particular, I see a lot of AAers make the comment one day at a time or just for today.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I hear those words, it means that I'm good for today, but tomorrow maybe I can drink. And for me, those words just left a window open. And so for me, I just say, I'm done. I'm not going to do it ever again.
She raises an interesting point.
Did you have a support system when you were getting sober?
You could say that. I have 3 children that I decided I was not going to drink.
Oh, yeah. That's a big reason.
Which, again, it worked for her, because as we've seen a lot of people with children, it doesn't always, that's not the reason they're not going to drink.
No, but it's incentive.
Yes, it's definitely incentive. And just
maternal instinct is very strong.
Yeah. Well, obviously she's got a lot of. Christine's obviously got a lot of self-will. I mean, it's fair to say, Christine, right? You're a strong woman, or you have a lot of willpower. Is a better. I hate using these words, but
I don't like the word willpower either.
You don't like a lot of words. No, I'm joking. And Christine, I'm in the 12 steps. So is what they sort of mean, by the way, about when they say 1 day at a time or 1 minute at a time, and all these things. Listen, I'm for whatever works. If you decided to go to Tibet and join whatever they have in Tibet, and that worked for you, God bless. And but different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I think that people who go to AA, it's good for them. It's good for them. It's
Right.
not good for me.
Right. And as long as they don't put their needs on you, you don't put your needs on me,
Right.
we're all good. Kumbaya, my Christine.
You know what else helped me was seeing two different therapists, and it wasn't even like I did this for years and years. I think I saw one therapist maybe 2 or 3 times, and the other therapist maybe 2 or 3 times, and then I saw an actual psychiatrist. And I took little nuggets of knowledge from all 3 of those people. Each one of them had 1 or 2 points that really made sense to me. You know, and I think some people just they're not open to listening to what some of the professionals have to say. And just because one professional may not make sense to you, maybe someone else will touch you in a certain way.
Hey,
That's right.
Find whatever works for you. You know,
That's right.
find the doctor. It's like dating. You know, you don't marry the first chick you go on a date with, Christine, right? You got to find the one that you want to be with.
Well,
Right.
everybody's path is individual,
Mhm.
but I'm really happy to hear you used Antabuse, and I think it's a forgotten medication that
It helps me. I don't take it anymore,
Yeah.
and you know, I don't feel that I will need to, but I know that it's an option if I feel that I'll be in.
If you got the urge.
Yeah.
Or you could just listen to us, Christine, and give us a call.
Right. Well, I'm going to start listening to you guys.
Thank you very much, Christine. Have a great night.
You too.
And you're listening to Klean Radio Live. You might be listening to us on News Talk 980 KFWB or News Talk 760 KFMB San Diego. We have really exciting news. Next week we'll be on our first week on in New York City on AM 1600. I don't have the call letters. Just Google it. And you could also give us a call at 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980 with any sort of question you might have about addiction, about any forms of addiction, about you can tell us your stories. And we're in the studio tonight with Dr. Jason Coe, psychiatrist at Klean, and just an amazing all-around psychiatrist, psychotherapist, and Hope Horner, owner and proprietor of A Better You. How do people find you, Hope?
BetterYou.com.
And what is the stage? What happens? How do you... So say what your company does again.
So it does 2 things. For the provider, which are personal trainers, massage therapists, hairstylists, anyone in the health, fitness, or beauty verticals, we help them manage.
I like that word, verticals.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with that. I
Fancy.
just learned something new tonight. She's not only beautiful, she's smart, Doc.
Oh,
so
Judah.
go on. Sorry.
So anyone in those verticals, we help them manage and market their business. But for the end user, which are consumers who want to look or feel better, you can come to betteryou.com and find any of these providers outside of the gym or spa and work with them directly. Connect with them, read reviews about them. We do background checks. We do a heavy vetting process to make sure that we have really qualified providers on the site. Some will come to your home. Some will meet you in parks and private studios and private spas. Whatever you're looking for, we'll have it on the site.
Dr. Coe, I think you and I should join. You could be my running buddy. And I know you go to the gym every day. Dr. Coe is probably the healthiest.
Almost. I just got out of the pool before I came here. Swam a mile. Yeah.
And he's too healthy. He eats healthy. I mean, it's just insane. His idea of a pizza is like spinach on like whole wheat crust with like some basil. And but he's, you're looking good for 85. And
not bad.
Yeah,
huh?
not bad. And so, Hope, you have a lot of people out there listening. What is that are whether it's addiction, whether they're going through a rough time, what's the best advice? Probably is just to call. Right, that's the first step. Is just calling.
Absolutely. Call, reach out, send us an email, drop us a line. We're always excited to help other people get back on track or help them find whatever it is they're looking for.
And I saw you had your opening party about a month ago. Was it?
Yeah, February 4th.
Not your opening. It was like a launch,
Yep.
and you got to check this out on Facebook. What's your Facebook? Because it looked very good. It
Thank
looked very
you.
enticing.
We had an amazing turnout and just a lot of fun. It's facebook.com/BetterYou Inc.
Doc, what do you got? What do you got on working out? How do you do it? I mean, you're not an addict. You don't have any, how do you motivate yourself to go swimming every night?
Well, it's either swimming or the gym, and I probably take a night a week off, but I sit all day, and that's not easy, believe it or not. My muscles start to hurt, and I feel like I just have to go somewhere and move. So at the end of the day, I do it, and it's become natural. It's just become a part of of the day for me.
Do you think we're more of a sitting culture than we've ever been?
Yes.
I mean, we just sit.
Well, technology has just become so advanced that everything is so much easier.
Right. You almost never have to get up. I mean, literally, if you never wanted to leave your apartment or your house, you could have everything there within a click.
That's right.
You know, I mean, schools. I mean, you have teenagers out there that text. That they don't. They had a recent study that
everything happens in front of a screen now.
Right.
It's so weird.
When I was 16 years old, all you wanted to do was get your driver's license. That was all you wanted to do. Now they have a new study. There are less. Right now, 16-year-olds, the least amount are getting their getting a driver's license than ever.
No kidding.
Because they say, "What's the point?"
Yeah.
You know, what's the point?
That's
all I
crazy.
wanted to do was get a car, get out of my parents' house, and go to Yankee Stadium. And you're listening to Clean Radio Live. The number here is 888-539-2980, 888-539-2980. Rand, one of our producers, an all-around great guy, told me the station we're going to be on next week in New York is WWRL AM 1600 New York. Give us a call about anything you might have. In the beginning of the show, we were talking about Whitney Houston. God bless her. I grew up with this woman. I mean, not with her, but listening to her in the background. And it would have been funny if I grew up with her. And it's extremely sad. And to quote her, she said, "Crack is whack." You know, and everybody wants to blame it on the prescription drugs, the Xanax. But in the end of the day, she was a drug addict. And it's horrifically sad that she died. But we celebrate, it's not even, it's so much, all we see is the depressing stories of the people that don't make it. And now I really, it's almost like what I love about Hope's company. It's like, and obviously with Hope's name, is that it's something to hope. It's something for a better you, that you could change your own story at any time. The script isn't written.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times people, Doc, they think the script is written. And if you get sober, if you decide to change your life, you could change the script.
That's right. The message is there is hope.
Right. There is hope. And it was so corny tonight because Hope's in the studio. And I don't mean to sound coarse. I mean, somebody might be listening to say, "Oh, why are you saying?" And I'm not bashing on her. God bless her. The universe bless her. It's horrible, to die like that, to die like she had to die. But it's over. Yeah.
And lots of other people are dying that way too.
Yeah.
And if it shows us one thing, this is a terrible disease,
right?
And it kills.
And there are a lot of teenagers out there, and I want to tell this: there are a lot of parents driving around.
And I guess the other thing is just because they're prescription drugs doesn't mean they're not dangerous,
right? Well, it's just just because it sells it on the shelf, right, doesn't mean it's good for your body,
right?
Just because the FDA says, my girlfriend's constantly telling me about what McDonald's has in its burgers. And
I don't think there's enough awareness about alcohol either, because it's legal and available, and but it's probably up there in the top 3 of preventable health problems.
Right, and it's
preventable health deaths.
Do you think it's the accessibility, right? There are parents driving out there tonight that went to their dentist, and their dentist gave them Vicodin. And we have, and they put it in their medicine cabinet. They might forget it, but they've got a kid in high school, a kid in, that's 13 in elementary school that goes into the parents' cabinet, hears about this stuff, and says, "Hey, there's my parents' Vicodin. I want to try this."
Sure.
That was our gold mine growing up.
Right, that was. It's like it became like, and I'm from Brooklyn, so it was a lot easier to drink where I was from. They didn't card you as long as you could sit on the bar stool. But from other places, drugs are almost much more accessible, and medicine cabinets are the easiest to access.
Definitely. Especially like among grandparents, and anytime that you have, high school students in and around those areas, it's really important to be aware of what you have and make sure it's not accessible, because prescription medication is such a powerful drug that's becoming more and more predominant in our youth.
And Doc, you were talking about this obviously the other day on Good Day LA. And let's get to we'll take this call quick. I'm having Oriah from Orange County. I drink every night. Welcome to Clean Radio. How do I pronounce your name correctly? Hello? Okay, we lost the person's name. You think they hung up because I couldn't pronounce their name correctly?
Nah.
But let's answer that question. If you are drinking every night, that is a good chance that you might, Doc, what would you say?
if you're drinking every night and you have to drink, or it's become a compulsive pattern, then this is sounding like addiction.
Right.
It's sounding like it's controlling your life. It's sounding harmful. It's certainly not an activity that is expanding your life or improving your life. So there might be a problem.
So it's not the amount. I think people are always focused on the amount. Oh, I drink a case a day. I do this much drugs.
A couple of beers.
A couple of beers. It's what it might be doing to you.
Damaging his relationship,
right.
though. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's the problem is it's like when I was younger, you would your parents would say to you, you don't want to end up like that. And they would point to the Skid Row bum, that's the worst. But there's the middle could be hell too. From Skid Row to Beverly Hills, it doesn't,
Yeah, or somebody who's, if you're spending time drinking, what could you do if you had that time and applied it in a positive way?
That's actually a great point. You're right. How much time? I know I wasted so much time drinking. There was hours upon hours upon hours. It was so funny when I got sober. There were so many hours in the day I didn't know what to do. And there was just it was so So Hope, we're running out of time. How do people find you?
Absolutely, you can find us at www.betteryou.com.
And is there a number? Or just go to betteryou.com.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. You can find our phone number and Twitter and Facebook and everything like that.
And Dr. Jason Koch, you obviously you could be found at Klean.
Find me at Klean.
And you also have an amazing website.
Website's up now.
What is it called?
It's drcohmd.com.
I actually like that. It's got like WebMD, Dr. CoMD.
It's got a ring to it.
It does have a ring to it. And we have one more call. Let's take him. It's who is this from Fullerton? Brent? Hello?
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 What?
Hey, can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Welcome to Klean Radio.
Yeah, I hear you.
What's cooking? We're running out of time. How you doing?
I'm a little pissed off at my wife because
it's
like every day she gets another pet.
He's back. And
so many cats and dogs, and now it's like I don't think I'm important anymore.
Brent or Mike, whatever your name is.
Brent.
Thanks for calling Klean Radio. Again, please, don't buy alcohol tonight or whatever it is you're buying, cat food. Take your wife to Jack in the Box and sort of have a romantic day. Try your best to do that. I really want to thank Hope Horner from betteryou.com. Please, I'm going to join this website, I think. I'm actually going to do the Judah Hope Challenge. And
get a running partner.
Yeah, to get a running buddy because I am going to get into shape. And no matter what I have to do, Patrick, you're going to do it too. You definitely need to. Brian, Small C Canberra, you got to get into shape. I can never remember your name, and I want to thank you for the great job you do here. Sean, thank you very much. You're an amazing video guy. We have the best video guys in town. Please listen to us next week. It's our first week on in New York. We'll be on 1600. 1600 WWRAM New York. We have one of my childhood heroes is going to be on next week. Sports super agent Lee Steinberg. If you've ever seen Jerry Maguire, he is Jerry Maguire. And so instead of watching the Oscars next week, because really, who wants to watch the Oscars? I got to be honest, Doc. Who wants to watch the Oscars? And
I agree.
Are you right? Everybody's.
But a lot of people do.
A lot of people do, and you know why they do? Because they're scared not to. They don't want to be the person that comes into the station to wherever they are the next day and somebody says, did you see Billy Crystal last night? But next week, and more important than the Oscars, is Lee Steinberg, sports super agent from Jerry Maguire, is going to be on cleanradio.com. Thank you, Hope Horner from betteryou.com. Thank you, Dr. Jason Koch from Klean Radio. The discussion continues. We'll see you next week at cleanradio.com.
Suspect a loved one is abusing drugs? Call Klean Treatment Center at 888-601-6040 for a free drug test and consultation. A treatment advisor is available to help you administer the test and answer any questions you may have regarding treatment and more. We are here to help. Call us today at 888-601-6040 or find us online at cleantreatmentcenter.com for your free drug test and the start of a promising future.